De Grote Tech Show wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Orange Cyberdefense. Van strategie tot uitvoer, jouw cybersecurity in vertrouwde handen.
Welkom bij de Grote Tech Show. Tech verandert onze wereld. Hier hoor je hoe, ditmaal vanuit Rotterdam. Want we zijn weer op pad gegaan, neergestreken bij Nearfield Instruments, waar ze voorop lopen met meetapparatuur te verwerken in de productie van chips. En zelfs heel dicht bij de volgende doorbraak lijken. En daar willen we natuurlijk meer over weten. Wij zijn in mijn geval Joe van Burik.
En Ben van den Burg.
Ja, Ben.
Joe, dit is zo mooi.
Mooi, hè?
Ja, we hebben wel iets mogen zien.
Ja, we zitten in een pand van een voormalig verhuisbedrijf, is ons net verteld door onze gast. Heer, moet ik zeggen. Die heeft ons rondgeleid. We hebben de meest interessante cleanroom in tijden gezien, zou ik er zelf bij zeggen. En machines die, hoe zou ik het zeggen, formaat grote auto, die van integraal belang zijn bij de procescontrole als het gaat om chips maken.
En altijd rond te lopen, alleen nog in de kantine te lopen, de mens te lopen en dan te beseffen, weet je, dat dit zo belangrijk is in de wereld. Weet je, voor mijn telefoon, voor alles wat jij hebt. Ja. Is dit essentieel en daarom ben ik altijd heel blij als ik in zo'n omgeving mag zijn. Ja,
het doet heel erg denken aan wat we bij ASML hebben gezien. En er is ook een sterke link met ASML. Gaat allemaal hier langskomen. Wat je overigens verder moet weten over wat er speelt in de wereld van tech, dat hoor je elke donderdag in onze extra podcast in de Grote Tech Show. Dus abonneer je daarop in jouw favoriete podcast. Nu dan, over de technologie van Nearfield. Die is onderscheidend, misschien zelfs wel uniek mogen we zeggen. In ieder geval een cruciale waarde in de internationale chipsindustrie. Als spin-out van TNO stapte Samsung al vroeg in als klant en belanghebbende. En vorig jaar haalde Nearfield nog 135 miljoen op. Op weg naar misschien wel in de komende jaren een beursgang of een grote overname door een grotere chipreus. Maar om te horen wat Nearfield nou echt doet, schakelen we over naar het Engels. As we'll be talking to the founder and CEO of Nearfield Instruments, Hamed Sadeghian. Thanks you for welcoming us here and welcome to our show.
Great to be here with you. Thank you.
Perfect. Hamed, so we just got a look, but tell the listeners, tell everyone, what exactly is it that you develop and deliver at Nearfield?
We deliver equipments for microchip manufacturers that control and improve the process of manufacturing a chip.
And this is a crucial part that in before days was not managed the right way before Nearfield came about?
Well, the more advanced the chips becomes, and especially with the AI chips, the more complex are the transistors and the architecture of the chips. Yes. And back then the solutions were not anymore sufficient to give insight to the yield limiters and reduce the time to yield, which is extremely critical for chip manufacturers.
Yeah, but what I like a lot about, what I read about it, is the atomic needle that you measure and you come really close to a chip and then the atoms are going to react and you invented that. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, so we use indeed an atomically sharp needle that follows the surface, atom by atom, very similar to a nano-record player. And that is the ultimate resolution, precisions that you can get on structures, to measure structures. The difficulty or the challenge was that this technique is extremely slow. Orders of magnitude slower than what this industry requires. So therefore, no one used it in so-called inline production. Yeah. And I'm not talking about research and R&D and so on and so forth. What we have developed over many years is an architecture, a mechatronic concept that could speed up the measurements, thus the productivity, while maintaining precision.
Yeah.
That's one aspect. But the even more important aspect, which is less realized, is we have also developed new imaging modes that opens up a completely new door for fabs for yield improvements and time to yield.
Yeah, and I think you have to explain the second one, because the first one is clear. Normally, it takes for 3 months for the whole chip, and in the process, you have to measure them. Otherwise, you go on with the chip, and then it's...
And that's a huge waste as well.
Yeah, exactly. But the second one, because what is that exactly?
So if you look at a transistor, is layers on top of each other. And what is important is to measure full shape. Full shape.
Yeah.
Because any variation in the shape directly influence the yield. Yeah. Now, there is no technique that can measure this full shape non-destructively, meaning without damaging,
right? Yeah.
At high throughput, which keeps up with the productivity. And that is what we have developed.
Yeah. And so how did you achieve this? Because you've been working on this for over 15 years, if I'm correct, starting at TNO already, and then as a spin-out. How did you achieve that breakthrough, and how did you move from there to improve on this position?
I think we recognized back then, identified this need in the industry, and that this needs become bigger and bigger. Back then, we didn't know that high NA will happen, and so on and so forth. The only thing that we knew was transistors are getting very small, much smaller than what used to be.
Yeah.
Much more complex, 3D, like a skyscraper in the stackings and so on and so forth. And the workhorse, which was optical metrology and to some extent electron beam-based metrology, would not be sufficient anymore.
Yeah.
And being naive in a positive way, then we thought we can change that. And
can you bring us to Delft or to TNO, a moment that you thought we can achieve this? We can, with the atomic needle, we can achieve that measurement. Can you bring us back to a moment in the lab that you thought, well, whoa, this is this?
I think it was, so we started, from a clean piece of paper, thinking what could be the concept in 2011. And we immediately started realizing so-called the biggest risk. Can we measure at that precisions with such a speed? So isolated from a machine down to a single but biggest risk.
Mm-hmm. And is it more physics or
was a combination
of
it was combination of physics plus mechatronics control. How you maintain. It's like flying with an airplane at a centimeter from surface with a speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour.
Right.
That's what you want to show. Yeah. And then it comes the rest. Okay, now we need the automations and the whole shebang around it. And that moment was in 2012.
Right.
We showed that core. It was not the machine, it was the core.
Yeah.
That, look, it is possible.
Yeah, to measure at that precision.
Correct. And then we said, okay, now we're going to, we discuss with customers and because engaging with customers, making sure what we develop at the end is what they want was very key for me.
Right.
And every customer was like, yeah, if such a technique is available, that would be great. But we don't think this is possible.
You challenged the status quo in the semicon industry.
And I remember I was present in the concept back then in 2012 in SPI Advanced Litho, the biggest events of semicon in San Jose. Mm-hmm. That, look, we are developing this and this is what we want to do and this is the requirement, the specification and the performance, you name it.
No one believed you.
People started laughing.
One of my colleagues was sitting, of course, in the audience next to the market leader.
Yes.
Where he heard them saying, look at this idiot. This is impossible.
Yeah.
And that was enough for us.
And then you started with the paper, you had to make the machine, you did it with clients. Weren't you afraid that some client thought, well, we can take it over because you have to have the patents? And how is that combination? Hold it to yourself to get a patent or to develop it with the customer?
We didn't develop anything with customer.
No.
We own everything, and in terms of IP and design, we engage with customer on application, on what it must do, instead of how it is done. At a certain moment in this industry, it's not about what you do, it's also how you do. because they know better than anybody else. No? So
that's the process.
We need to do it. You need to be careful, but it is not at the advantage of such a fabs to also build a tool. So risk is limited. Especially, I'm talking about the big five. So, there are fabs that might do that, and we didn't engage that. So we own everything. It was making sure on a very frequent basis that every step in the development is sanitized by customer.
Right. Okay. So tell us about the way you scale then, because you have a lot of clients already. One of the first ones was Samsung, if I'm correct. But as Ben just alluded to as well, you need to grow, you need to stay ahead of the game, you need to expand, including having more property to develop and to have your people at work. How do you manage all this?
Manage is a big word. But it started with the moment that, let's say, we had the light that, it's working.
Right.
Then we asked customers to come test it. And we invited them in my lab in Delft, test it. And they came. And indeed, Samsung, because it's public, they have announced that they came and they did a heavy due diligence, with a full of engineer teams.
Yeah.
And at the end of the week, on a Friday afternoon, the conclusion was, wow, we measured things that we were not able to measure.
Yeah.
And that led to Samsung said, I want this system.
Okay.
And then Samsung Venture Investment also said, we want to invest.
Yes.
And that led to also innovation industry back then, which was just their start, also say, well, we want to participate as well. And this is how it happens.
Yeah.
Then it took years and hard work and ups and downs to make the system, also middle of COVID, and ship the system to Samsung and go through the so-called the heaviest and most challenging testings, evaluations, and the machine is not working. And then you need to go there in quarantine, which I'm now summarizing it in short. And at the end of the day, it was towards end of 23 that we were qualified. And they decided to use it in production.
Only 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. And now everyone wants in.
And then, we could pick up other customers, and then they saw, it's being used, we had data, we could prove, and then one after the other, and then, it's long time nothing, and then a steep
demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have to, then becomes, now make the clean rooms, productions, cycle time, supply chain, the whole...
So, and you just told us there is an EUV machine. Your machine, to measure it, is next to it.
Yeah, ASML's EUV machine.
Yes, and the wafers go through your machine, they measure it and go back. So it's next to the EUV machine.
So our equipment serves several important steps in the line of making a chip. Simply speaking, you can divide to the following steps. Lithography, you do lithography. Then you want to transfer that pattern to silicon, that is etch. Mm-hmm. And then you go through depositions, chemical, mechanical polishing. At the end of the day, there is a chip where you do advanced packaging, chip bonding, making it a stack on top of each other.
Ja. We praten zo meteen verder met Hamed van Nearfield na deze break. En nu verder in gesprek met Hamed van Nearfield Instruments. Right.
So what we do is we sit. We have in fabs that we measure lithography pattern in terms of the performance, which is in this case EUV and high-end EUV, so next to the EUV scanners. Then is after etch. So when etch is done, then we check that.
Yeah.
We control that process and continues, and it goes to advanced packaging.
Yeah,
that we do as well.
Okay, to have that in 2023 with Samsung, that's one machine. You have a lot of suppliers. You can say to the suppliers, I would like to have this material or this material, and then you have one machine. It works. Everyone is happy. But then, what we just said, the demand is starting, and then all your suppliers has to deliver also. I mean, that's difficult because
that's difficult.
One is okay, you can make one, but can you make a lot more. That's more difficult.
Yes.
How did you lead that? How difficult was it? Because that's the scaling. It's not only the money.
So it's a combination of few things. Is making the platform such that is modular, that you don't end up in situations that you have a supplier. In architecture study, it's also about your supply chain a lot.
Sure.
In such a case that you are not limited with a specific supplier, that they cannot scale up with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and this is what we have seen earlier in the game. Next was telling their story, showing them the light at the end of the tunnel. I remember quite some of the suppliers didn't want to work with us. Why should we work with them?
They were skeptical of what you could achieve.
Yes.
Why? Small.
They didn't believe the mission.
They didn't believe because what was the last time that a semicon equipment became successful?
Yeah, but after Samsung, after your success in 20...
But then again, imagine that you have hundreds of orders from ASML and others. You don't bother.
Okay.
And then you have to tell a story and show them by a story. I don't mean sugarcoating, but you sketch for them how does the future look like.
Yeah.
And motivate them to think bigger.
Yeah.
To motivate them to make steps to improve the move rate, the capability, the scaling up, and so on and so forth. Right. And quite some of them saw the same thing and actually continued to doing it. And we continue working with them. And some of them we dropped because they were not able to scale.
Yeah. What we heard from TSMC, that always the Apple silicon is altijd first, but now NVIDIA silicon is first. And then the other companies, they are less important for them. How is that in your place? Because I think when you're a supplier, ASML is number one, and you are maybe number 3 or 4. How is that the powers, dynamics in that field?
I mean, the number of our customers, the number of fabs is very limited.
Yeah, there's only a few major ones.
And they have the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? While they also realize the criticality of our solution, a sort of single source of supply as well. They are extremely aggressive, extremely demanding. And what I see is there is when you are there, when you pass the door, they don't care whether you are ASML or KLA or a small company Nearfield. You have to deliver. That's the dynamic.
Yeah. Talk to us about the relationship you have with ASML these days.
Very close, very good relations with ASML, a lot of thinking together. I appreciate the support once a while and help of Christoph himself. Really, we want, I feel that they really want this company also to be successful, proud of that.
Yeah.
So whenever it's, we need each other, we can help each other, and we talk, and there is a good chemistry also.
Right, because it's not just because you're both companies based in the Netherlands, but because you're literally adjacent in the fabs in terms of the machines you deliver.
But also culturally, the way of working, the model is very similar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So is there a lot you could still learn from ASML?
Absolutely. Yes,
Name something you'd like to learn.
The way that they, although ASML is single source, I still see how they do customer treatment and customer intimacy.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And this is what I also believe. The reason that we exist is customers.
That's a scaling exercise again.
Yes. Yeah, that's one. Second is the way that they think about development of a hell of a innovation.
Right.
Yeah. So for the scaling, that is a customer intimacy. That's the suppliers who need to deliver. So that's also an intimacy. How do you achieve that? Yeah. What do you need more to scale, to have the demand that people are asking from you, that you can deliver them that?
It's about almost perfect execution.
Yeah.
We need to reduce the cycle times of making these machines. It's now long. And that involves the supply chain, that involves our personnel, training, hiring, automation. A space. Oh, we don't have a space here.
Yeah, but you told us you just built another...
Yeah, we built a new clean room close by, which is a bigger, but it was a hell of a job to find, we need electricity, we need a space.
Yeah.
People here come a lot also with car. We need parking, you name it.
All the usual issues in the Netherlands.
It might sound very silly, but this makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
And then is installation at the customer side, having the local team. Training the local team because they don't know the system. You hire in Korea, you hire in US, they don't know the system. Bring them here, train them, send them back here. We still send engineers from here to different countries that our customers are, and make sure that the systems that we have at customer sites are up and running and they don't go down.
Yeah,
and manage that well.
Well, especially with you having said that sounds to me like the 135 million euros in funding you attracted last year isn't enough to cover all that.
It is enough with that round of investment to run our business.
Right. But you want to expand.
Yes. And we think big, also together with shareholders. And that's also, who we are. We think very big and we are bullish. So there are several strategic developments, acquisition, new products, new projects that we want to pick up.
Yeah.
And for that, we also need extra finances, and we will look at how what type of finances works best.
Yeah.
As towards the exit, which could be IPO.
Yeah.
That is what we look into it.
Yeah. Is that your preferred route still? Because your co-founder Roland van Vliet was on BNR earlier this year. He mentioned it could happen before 2028, but you don't exclude a merger and acquisition either.
Each has pros and cons.
Yes.
Yeah, each has pros and cons.
And surely you want to, keep your grip on the valuable technology here.
So we do not exclude any of them. We look at what works best for the business and for our shareholder. Today, I believe IPO is the perfect route for us to go.
Yeah, because we have semicon companies in the Netherlands who went the same route.
Right, and we are not a single product company. We have several products that customers love to see them happening. So there is a lot more value to add.
Right.
Yeah.
So we will carefully look what works best for the company.
Right.
Yeah, so the measurement, the process optimization, what kind of projects or products are you working on at the moment where you put a lot of R&D money in?
So it's few-fold. So our system generates huge amount of data. And we can do a lot with those data. Via AI algorithms that we are developing, and we want to scale that up to bring from data insight to customers.
Yeah,
right.
Insight to the process, insight for our machines as well.
Right, so you can teach them things they can't learn themselves.
Yes, so we see a lot of stories in the data, and so AI is a field that we are investing. Our systems use these atomic needles, and upcoming application also need a very complex of these needles, which we simply talk about it, and that needs a whole infrastructure to make sure that we have them ready for the next generations of the chips that customers are developing as well. Penetrating to other segments of the market. We are now in metrology, process control, but there are other segments that we can be also a winner. Look at wafer inspections, defects inspections, more applications. So we want to back, simply speaking, more applications in the value chain.
Yeah. So
and stay ahead. We are ahead, but also stay ahead. And that means continuous R&D as well.
Right. Yeah. So this is an interesting year for tech and AI in many ways. Not to just mention, the arguable bubble that may be, not to mention the trade restrictions, tariffs. How do you operate and innovate in that context now?
There are a lot of disturbances. Unwanted helps, unwanted
helps.
When it comes to export control, when it comes, now you are suddenly very sensitive technology, we need to be careful.
I was going to say, the Americans are still very much focused on ASML, not so much on you.
They do, also on us.
Also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we spend a lot of time and effort on export control, because otherwise we have a big problems. When we ship not only the systems, but also the spare parts.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure on the company.
Yeah.
But we try to focus still on the operations, on making sure that we keep delivering on our promises to customer.
Right.
If that is not there, then we will be out of business.
Right.
Yeah, how is it for you personally? Because you are a product guy, you like the technique. And
you're an engineer.
You're engineer, yeah. And now you have to deal with
so Nearfield is my third company that I started.
Yeah. You had your own business back in Iran?
Yes, and then I basically got an exit. But the point is, my passion is customer satisfaction. What is the pain? How can I solve that pain? And then it's linked to product and technology and so on and so forth.
And politics and...
So I'm not involved in that. I just do not have time and I do not have the focus. My focus is, one, customer. Second, product development to bring to that customer.
Yeah.
Know what is their problem. Third, supply chain.
Right.
This is my focus. The rest is done by my team. I have a very strong team, luckily, and that we lift this together.
Yeah, but still, you received the Leading Entrepreneur in Tech Award from TechLeap. I witnessed you go on stage there this year.
Yes.
That's not just because those three. That's probably also because you're vocal about the tech industry in the Netherlands.
Of course.
What should be done.
Of course, because I see a huge potential here. Huge potential.
Yeah.
And I just don't accept that we will not have a leading position in the future, period.
And what do we have to develop better and more?
It's linked to commercial. The commercialization is strong. We are very strong in science, in R&D, but entrepreneurship is lagging behind. And you need that attitude, that culture of winning, especially when we talk about deep tech. I believe either you are a winner or a loser.
Right.
There's nothing in between. So attitude, change, mindset is very important. That is something we have a lot to work on here.
Yeah.
But the positive thing is, there are not many examples in the world like Netherlands with such a huge toolbox of different technologies. I mean, if you don't have anything to start with.
No.
We have a great toolbox of different technologies.
Yeah. So we should be hopefully close to a new government. Surely you're going to, let them reach for that toolbox and make sure to grab the right tools. I think that the time is right, isn't it?
Correct. And we should do it together. So I welcome and I advise that talk to entrepreneurs, talk for people that their heartbeats goes up for making Netherlands much stronger when it comes to technological leadership in the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this, founder and CEO of Nearfield Instruments, Hamed Sadeghian. En tot zover voor nu, maar luister de Grote Tech Show juist ook als podcast. Vanaf elke donderdag ook onze analyse over wat er verder speelt in de wereld van tech. Dus luister de Grote Tech Show als podcast via de app waar jij graag luistert. Tot dan, tot de volgende Grote Tech Show.
De Grote Tech Show wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Orange Cyberdefense. Van strategie tot uitvoer, jouw cybersecurity in vertrouwde handen.